Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Kenny Clutch, on another episode of the Clutchvision podcast. It is going down today. I got a special guest in the building for you guys. Not necessarily in my building. He's in his building in Washington, D.C., and I'm in my building, in my house, in my living room. But all the way from Washington, D.C., we have the biggest man alive, you know what I'm saying? And I mean that literally because his heart, his voice, his wisdom is so huge. We have Mr. Brandon Farbstein.
I was 11 years old, sitting on the floor of my bedroom, and I was moments away from ending my own life, ending my journey permanently here on Earth because I had no purpose.
When I was 2, I was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of dwarfism, metatropic dysplasia.
The very first week of my freshman year, I became target number 1 on everybody's list. And it got to the point where I started getting a new death threat every single week from the kids at my school, just for being different, just for doing me. And I almost killed myself because of them. What if you obsessed yourself with trying to find out who you truly were, being in the moment every single day, instead of living through social media or living with your head down at your phone every day? Just think about what that would do for your future. So what does it take to change the world? Why can't you live your dream? Why can't you do what your heart wants, doing what's right for you? The answer is there is no excuse. There is no reason why you shouldn't be doing what you love. You don't have to have some rare medical condition in order to commit to doing what you want to do every single day.
Fast forward a few years, and Brandon has now taken his platform across the globe.
That was the start of the rest of my life. At 15 years old, I found my purpose. Everything that I had been through was worth it because I was able to flip it around 180 degrees and use it, not only to enhance my life, but to inspire others with my experience and my perspective. None of us know what tomorrow is going to bring. That's an obvious. But what if we could turn uncertainty into more momentum? I was moments away from ending my life with a belt around my neck. And That's when my mom came in and she physically stopped me and removed the belt and held me just for at least 10 minutes and really reminded me how loved I am. And at that point, I got the professional help I needed and I started therapy, and my perspective just really shifted from being the only one going through something to realizing that every single human being is suffering. We are all dealing with something, and whether it's visible or it's not, that's the human experience. And I started opening up to people, and the more and more that I did that, I felt the weight off my shoulders start to get lifted piece by piece. And I really saw that when I was 15. And like you mentioned, I gave a TEDx talk, and that was the start of the rest of my life. Wow. It was in that moment that not only was it the very first time that I publicly shared my story and I decided to just be vulnerable and authentic, but it was in that moment that I discovered my purpose and my passion. And truly the rest is history.
Wow. So you had about 4 minutes to tell this amazing story on TED Talks, but that 4 minutes has turned into such a wonderful career over the past 5 years. It's amazing on whatever, that 4 minutes can absolutely change your life in a more positive way. And what I'm getting from you is that you weren't really afraid to tell your story after, your mom, she held you and she told you how much, she loved you and how much you are loved. And sometimes we just need that reminder, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think like people across the planet, there are so many, I'm pretty sure that you get messages like crazy from different people as well as I on their stories, and it kind of opens your eyes like, wow, like these people are actually going through some real life stuff, and it's people like you that are used in a special way to give them, to be that voice for them, to let them know, like, you know what, you don't necessarily have to go down the route of, you know, potentially committing suicide or, you know, going down the deep end. And I think that's just special, man. So I applaud you for that. What was it like going through in school? Like you mentioned, you know, there were negativity things that are around you. So
Yeah.
what was that like going through school? Were you bullied at all in any way?
Yeah, definitely. I had just an overall really negative experience across the board in my school career. And I would say the bullying for me got super severe in high school when social media was becoming so rampant. And this was about 5 years ago now. My freshman year of high school, the very first day I walked in, and that's when the cyberbullying started. It went
Wow.
from having somebody take a video of me on my mobility device, which for context was this super badass bright yellow Segway that I used, and it drew a lot of attention, and the students did not like that at all. And so it was a video posted on Twitter saying first person to kick the midget off the Segway gets $5.
What?
My kind of welcome to high school. And from that point on, I literally felt like target number one in a school of about 2,000 kids. And it got so severe that my junior year of high school, I started getting death threats from my peers. And it ranged from on my Instagram DMs to then getting emails saying, if you don't kill yourself, I'm going to stab you in the kidney on Thursday. It just got to the point where it was affecting every aspect of my life, not just my grades, not just my social life, but genuinely everything. And I said to my parents, this is absolutely toxic in every way, and I can't do this anymore. So the only option that I'm laying out on the table is doing online school. And that's exactly what I did. The school system didn't want to work with me, didn't want to support myself or my family in really any way during this process of being extremely victimized and harassed. And there were some limits that they had, but there were also a lot of things that they could have done in hindsight. And that for me was the fuel to not only start a professional speaking career at the age of 17, but I also then shared my story, testified at the Virginia General Assembly, and have to date gotten 2 bullying prevention laws passed in the state of Virginia because I chose to speak up and do something with my experience and with the pain. And that for me was everything, because not only was I able to flip that pain and that experience 180 degrees and really use it for good, but I was able to show people it doesn't matter what you're going through, how tough it is, what you think you're defined as. You're the one in the driver's seat of this life. You choose how you are defined, and you choose what you do with what you're given. And I had the choice where I went from being miserable and being in pain every single day with this experience to then saying, I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to let this be my suffering point anymore. And so I made a decision and I flipped that switch and I used it for good. And not only did it make me feel so much better about myself, and again, that suffering wasn't there anymore, but it also obviously helped a lot of people along the way, and laws have been passed, and hopefully it's the start of many to come.
That's what I'm talking about. You changing the law around this joint, man.
Thanks, bro.
That's what's up, yo. Wow, man. Because I can relate to the bullying in some way. Like I'm a dancer, and I'm very, very skinny or whatever. Growing up, they used to call me the little Ethiopian boy because I was like super skinny and not knowing that I had really bad asthma. And a lot of times I spent a lot of time in the hospital, in and out, because my asthma caused me to lose weight. I had a really fast metabolism, and my wrist is really, really skinny. So, I used to get made fun of. People used to like grab my wrist, and I don't know if they ever done that to you or whatever. They used to grab your wrist or whatever, see how many kids you were going to have or something like that. But for me, it was just like, it was super annoying. And then when I got into the dance world, I wasn't at first. I mean, nobody's great at, at something when you first start.
Yeah.
It takes time, it takes work, obviously, and as you know. And when I started dancing, I wasn't the greatest dancer, and I used to get talked about, laughed at, made fun of in the clubs or wherever I was at. And people used to sit there and say, like, to my dance team, like, yo, why y'all even got him on the team? But it was more so that I wanted to do this. I had the drive, I had the passion, I had the determination. I wanted to create an impact. And I just wanted to work with people at the end of the day, and especially the youth, because I think that's really, really sensitive, for me. And so I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until we got to that next level. I just didn't want to quit. And that's where I'm going. Like, you didn't quit, man. Like, you turned this thing into a phenomenon. And it's amazing to see someone, your age, take it and flip the switch just like that, because there are many people out there that can't, I don't want to say can't do it, they just haven't been maybe properly exposed, or something just hasn't clicked. And for you, it clicked at an early age, man. And then you wrote this book, right? So now you're an author. So talk to the people about, now all the stuff that you're talking about was in the book, correct?
Yeah, it
So
is.
talk about the book a little bit.
Yeah, the book was a decision that I made when I was about a year into speaking full time. And I noticed that I had an obligation to share my story in a way that helped as many people as possible. And yes, I was reaching a lot of people through my speeches, but I wasn't reaching people that weren't necessarily in that audience. And
Right.
so the book is not only my story, but it's also the tools that I learned along the way that have helped me shift my perspective and give me the platform that I have today, because it hasn't been this easy. It hasn't been just simple decisions that I've made to get me to this point. And, we all, like I said before, are struggling with something at all points of life. And the more that we can own up to that, and we can open up and really use that and use everything that we've been given to our advantage, but also because the world needs it now more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in, your tests turn into testimonies, and I believe that I have this saying: when we change the mind, we change the game. I think mentally people, when they're faced with adversity, oftentimes they automatically think that they can't, and they won't, and it just won't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I believe that, voices like yours, and many other people, like you got the Tony Robbins of the world, or the Eric Thomases of the world, Inky Johnsons of the world. I believe that speaking is becoming, bigger than ever. And not only did you take your situation and turn it into a speaking career, but actually, let me ask you this: what would you say to the person that is going through right now, whatever condition or whatever it is that they're in, whether it be cancer, whether it be dwarfism, or bullying at school, cyberbullying, especially online, which is kind of what I wanted to talk a little bit about too.
Yeah.
What do you say to that person, to how would they change their mind and change the game in that aspect?
For me, what really started shifting things was when I became grateful. When I started realizing how blessed I truly am to have this life, to have a voice, to just have everything that I have. And when you are grateful, you can't be angry. You can't be comparing yourself to other people when you are grateful. And the more and more that you can change your thoughts from constantly being negative and beating yourself up and telling yourself that you're not good enough or worth it or whatever it is, if you can replace those thoughts with positive ones, which it sounds so simple, but
Right.
we self-sabotage often unconsciously. We're in these cycles and we're going through the motions of life, and often we don't realize that we're thinking toxic thoughts and we're going down these routes that get us in destinations that we really don't want to be in. And truly, we have control over the thoughts in our head. And if you change your thoughts, you will change your life. So if you start just becoming aware and recognizing yourself when you get in those patterns of thinking negatively or beating yourself up, and you could stop it when you recognize it, you will become better and better. And just like anything, you become conditioned and you practice.
Right.
And it becomes a natural part of your daily routine. But if you don't put a lot of thought into really the thoughts that go on inside your head on a regular basis, then you're going to be controlled and possessed by them.
Right. Right. So what do you say to this, right? Because you mentioned earlier in the conversation that when your mom came in the room and she hugged you and she loved you, you know, she told you how much you were loved. How important is it for parents at home to, because that's where I believe it starts. How important is it for parents at home to give their kids that type of love, that type of attention, so that they don't go down that route? And because when they get to school, then it's like they're kind of like not prepared. So how important is it for the parents to instill in their child, to prepare them for what's going on outside of the home, so that they know that they have this block up, so whatever comes inside or whatever is not going to faze me? What do you say to that?
Absolutely. I think everything that you said is 100%. When you have a home and your child is raised to grow up the way that they can fully express and be themselves, that's the biggest gift that you can give. And I feel like a lot of parents are coming from a place of fear, because you're not given a manual, you're not given a how-to book of how to deal with all of the problems and quite frankly, all of this shit that comes up along the way that you didn't expect.
Right.
And it's hard for every single person, but I think if you could recognize your child for who they are and not try and force them to be like you want them to be, which is really, really tough. And I totally understand that. And listen, I'm not a parent, so I can't really come from a place of personally knowing what that's like, but I definitely have obviously met thousands and thousands along this journey. And from my own experience too, being raised just truly without any limitations has been everything for me. And I have my parents to thank for the mindset that I have and for the attitude that I'm able to stand here with. It's because of the foundation that they gave me.
Right. So let me just add on for the people that don't have that type of upbringing, for those that don't have those parents that are there for them, or don't have, maybe not even have a parent at all.
Right.
What I would say to them, and let me know if you agree, is know your environment, right? Know the people that are around you, know who is good for you and bad for you. We have to have a level of discernment in our heart so that we're able to know who's good, who's bad, so that we don't go down these roads. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel that because I live in New Jersey, so you know there are many, and I'm pretty sure down in Washington D.C. as well too. You know, Chocolate City, y'all get busy down there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like in all parts of America, or the world, there's always somebody that's going through it where they don't have that type of love inside the home, right?
Right. In every community, truly. Every
community, right? And you know, you're like, okay, so how do I figure this out? Where is it coming from? So I'm just giving this out to whoever is watching this right now. You need to learn how to control your personal environment, you know, and Brandon, you can add on, learn how to, you know, control your personal environment. I say this all the time: when we change the mind, we change the game, people. So you want to be able to knock out the negativity with your positive tangibles that you have in your life. You know, so you can double up on the positive tangibles to knock out the negativity, because then you'll filter out any type of negativity that will try to attack you. And then inside of that, you have your positives, and you double that. You then create what you have, your gift, which I believe is what you did. You saw what were the positives and what you were grateful for in life. And then you started to look at yourself, and you looked at yourself first in the mirror, like, who am I? You know, I'm the man, you know, pretty much. and then you turned it into something great. And now you're using your gift to serve others. So to that you say,
You know, I truly think it's a shift in your own perspective,
right,
and nobody else is going to be your own hero. Nobody else is going to change things until you decide things need to change for yourself. And I'll go back to what I said before about the definition that we create of ourselves. We are not defined by our condition, our age, our sexuality, our past, our mistakes, like whatever it is you think that is weighing you down. It's your own perception that's making you think that. And it all is internal about the thoughts that you can have to change the way that you feel about yourself. And I truly believe the relationship that we have with ourselves is the most important one, because we obviously are spending the most time with ourselves,
absolutely,
even when we're with other people or with ourselves. So we need to learn how to not only become comfortable with the skin that we're in, but we need to love every bit of
yeah,
who we are, because this is it. This is the life that we were handed.
right,
And the choice is yours, whether you love that and you accept it,
yeah.
or you resent it and you're angry and you're depressed.
Yes. So let's segue a little bit into social media. And actually, before I even get into that, I wanted to touch on something a little bit earlier. There was an article that came out from the University of California. A psychologist from there discovered, he did a study on 3 different groups. And basically, long story short, they discovered that gratitude trains the mind and also extends health.
Yep.
And what they saw was that out of the 3 groups, the positive group was the group that was more motivated. They were more optimistic and ready to go for their dreams and goals, versus the groups that put down, just the events that happened in their life. And then there was another group that put down all the negative things that happened in their life. So, and how did they come out of that? Out of I believe it was a 10-day span, what they felt like, so are you a firm believer in just gratitude can just change your mindset?
Absolutely, 100%. And it sounds voodoo to those that haven't employed that practice before, because
Right.
it's something that is as simple as just changing your thoughts, changing what you focus on. What you focus on is how you feel at the end of the day. And what, especially with social media too, I want to mention, we're spending so many hours on it, basically every day for the majority of people.
Right.
And we often don't recognize that the people that we're following have direct influence over the emotions that we have based on the content that they're posting. And
Right.
here's what I mean by that. I don't mean that you have to follow only motivational speakers and people that are posting positive quotes and all of that all the time. But I am saying that you shouldn't be following people that are constantly complaining, or that are always berating other people or bringing others down, or those that just aren't good for you. Just
Absolutely.
like you mentioned before, Kenny, it's like you need to just recognize who needs to be in your court and who doesn't. And sometimes that's a really tough decision.
Yeah.
And it's a tough action to take, to press unfollow or to press delete, whether it's on social media or it's in real life. But you have to give yourself permission to do that in order to move forward, in order to level up in any way. We have to level up the people that we're hanging around to.
There it is. There it is. So let's stay on the topic of social media real quick. Last week, Instagram rolled out that they're going to be deleting the likes from others to see. I mean, you can see them, but everyone else won't.
You can't see others' likes.
You can see others. So what's your take on that? Because I think I saw you post something about that. So just elaborate a little bit on what that is going to do for people in their mental state.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Instagram removing likes is a really positive thing. It coincidentally is such a powerful thing, especially for young people in my generation that I've seen, the comparisons that it makes you do in thinking you're not pretty enough, or people don't like you, you don't have enough friends because you don't get enough likes. So I think that it's a really positive thing, because it's not going to wager what people post or the factor that they have of what they let rue in their camera roll, and just they have fear to not post it for whatever reason. They're insecure, their fear of getting rejected, and you have to just make that decision to recognize that the content that you post, if it's good enough for you, then it's good enough for the people that follow you, because they follow you for a reason. So overall, I just think it's a very positive thing that is going to help in the overall quality of content that is out there. Hopefully it helps the overall mental health of creators and influencers who are often possessed by the numbody. It's hard not to be.
It is, because I think there was a bodybuilder or someone that was in the fitness world, and he posts, the fitness stuff, like he'll post like a picture of his muscles, but really he wants to post facts about, fitness and health versus just actually posting a picture of his muscles that people have already seen like thousands of times, right? And he wants to post the facts because that's what's more important versus people seeing his, his muscles and everything, which is all well and good or whatever, but it just goes to show you what people, gravitate to. I believe that we should push more for the knowledge and the wisdom, because then ultimately that's going to sustain us, throughout life from an emotional standpoint, physically, mentally, even financially. The more wisdom we have, the more we're able to do more things in life in general and become a better world at the end of the day. So for the young people that are listening, right? What advice would you give them moving forward, trying to discover their gift?
Yeah. I believe that our generation has been told a message that has done a lot of damage to a lot of young people, and that is that young people are the future. I think that's bullshit, because young people aren't the future, we're the right now. And if we don't step up right here and right now collectively, then this world is going to go in a direction that I don't think any of us want to see. And truly, it's a responsibility to every young person to find what it is that they can do to make a difference. And we often get so carried away in thinking that we don't have a large enough platform or we don't have enough money to really make an impact. But I want to challenge you in thinking that your one simple action, something so small that you can do, can change everything for somebody else. Smiling to somebody in the hallway that you can tell isn't having a great day, or texting a friend that is really stressed right now. Something that simple can mean absolutely everything for somebody else. And it's also going to make you feel pretty great.
Mad dope, bro.
So the more and more that we can, be as good as possible to the people around us, it doesn't take much to make a positive impact on the people around us.
Right. That's awesome, brother. Man, this conversation was super, super dope. Man, I can talk to you all day. But I want to say thank you so much for taking the time, to rock with me on the Clutchvision podcast.
Absolutely.
Where can everyone find you? Tell them like your Instagram handle, your Twitter handle, website.
Totally. So my Instagram, where I like to hang out the most, is just my last name @Farbstein, FARBSTEIN. My website is brandonfarbstein.com. And to check out my book, 10 Feet Tall, it is on Amazon. Just go to Amazon wherever your country is, and you could either get it paperback or digitally.
Awesome. And it will also be in the description below, guys. So make sure you go ahead and check it out. His website, his Instagram handle, Twitter handle, and the book on Amazon will be in the description below. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share this post, share this podcast with your friends, your family members, text it to them. I don't care. Deliver it to them on a wall or something like that. I don't care what it is, but they need to hear this message. Brandon Farbstein, it's your boy Kenny Clutch, the Clutchvision podcast. We up, and away. When we change the mind, we change the game, y'all. One love. Peace. Till the next time.